Kenya has experienced recurring droughts in recent years, which have had severe impacts on the country's economy, food security, and the well-being of its population. The drought is primarily caused by climate change, which has led to reduced rainfall and increased temperatures, resulting in reduced crop yields, water shortages, and food insecurity. The impacts of drought in Kenya are particularly severe in rural areas, where many people depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. Drought can lead to crop failure, loss of livestock, and increased food prices, making it difficult for families to access the food and resources they need to survive. In response to the drought, the Kenyan government and international organizations have implemented various initiatives to address the immediate needs of affected communities, such as providing food and water aid. Additionally, efforts are underway to promote sustainable agriculture practices, improve access to water, and support the development of alternative livelihoods that can withstand the impacts of drought. However, there is still much work to be done to address the root causes of the drought, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting sustainable development practices. The impacts of climate change are global and require international cooperation and action to mitigate their effects. The drought in Kenya has also had a significant impact on the country's wildlife and natural resources. Many of Kenya's national parks and wildlife reserves have been affected by the drought, leading to wildlife deaths, habitat loss, and increased human-wildlife conflicts as animals move in search of water and food. The drought has also had an impact on the availability of clean water for human consumption and sanitation, leading to increased risks of waterborne diseases. In some cases, people are forced to travel long distances to access water sources, putting them at risk of violence and exploitation. Kenya's government and international partners are working to address the impacts of the drought through a range of interventions, including the provision of food aid, the drilling of boreholes for water, and the promotion of drought-resistant crops. There is also a need to promote sustainable development practices that help to build the resilience of communities to the impacts of climate change. Addressing the impacts of drought in Kenya will require a sustained and coordinated effort by all stakeholders, including the government, civil society, and international organizations. This will involve addressing the root causes of climate change, promoting sustainable development practices, and building the resilience of communities to the impacts of drought and other climate-related events. The drought in Kenya is not a new phenomenon, as the country has experienced recurring periods of drought and water scarcity in the past. However, the frequency and severity of drought have increased in recent years, making it a major challenge for the country. In addition to the impacts on agriculture, wildlife, and human health, the drought has also had a significant impact on the economy of Kenya. The agricultural sector, which accounts for a significant portion of the country's GDP, has been particularly affected by the drought, leading to reduced crop yields and increased food prices. The drought has also affected other sectors of the economy, including tourism, which has been impacted by the loss of wildlife and natural resources. This has had a knock-on effect on the livelihoods of people who work in these sectors, exacerbating the impacts of the drought on vulnerable communities. To address the impacts of the drought on the economy, the government of Kenya has implemented various measures to support affected communities, including providing financial assistance to farmers and promoting the development of alternative livelihoods. Additionally, the government is working to attract investment in water infrastructure and other climate-resilient projects to help build the resilience of communities to the impacts of climate change. The drought in Kenya underscores the urgent need for global action to address the root causes of climate change and promote sustainable development practices. It also highlights the need for coordinated efforts to build the resilience of vulnerable communities to the impacts of climate-related events. In addition to the efforts of the Kenyan government and international organizations, there are also various community-led initiatives that are working to address the impacts of the drought in Kenya. These initiatives include the establishment of community-managed water points, the promotion of sustainable agriculture practices, and the development of alternative livelihoods such as beekeeping and fish farming. Community-based organizations and civil society groups have also played a critical role in raising awareness about the impacts of the drought and advocating for the needs of affected communities. These groups have worked to mobilize resources and support from the public and private sectors, and have also provided direct assistance to affected communities. The drought in Kenya is a stark reminder of the urgent need for global action to address the impacts of climate change, which are affecting vulnerable communities around the world. This includes reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting sustainable development practices that can help build the resilience of communities to the impacts of climate-related events. At the same time, it is important to recognize the resilience and resourcefulness of affected communities in the face of these challenges. By working together and building on local knowledge and expertise, it is possible to develop innovative and sustainable solutions to the impacts of the drought and other climate-related events.